All right. That cut off awful abrupt, but welcome to episode 44 of the Third Banner Pod. Guys, basketball got a win tonight. It wasn't pretty, but the team won. And tonight you got the Third Banner Pod a little bit delayed because of the game, but I'm glad to be here with you guys tonight. Episode, like I said, 44 tonight. Along with myself, you've got Kyle, Ross, Patrick, and myself. I'm the host, Ash. Glad to be here for another episode. Glad everybody could join us on the stream. If you guys are in the lobby, please make sure you hit the like button on this particular episode. But let's just dive right in, guys, because we played one of the worst basketball teams in all of Division I. I would even go so far as to say that they would lose to a lot of D2 schools. Like, that was an abysmal Coppin State team that we saw out there tonight. And just for reference, Virginia Tech beat them 100-55 in their season opening game. So, Ross, what'd you think?
I mean, there's not a lot to say, man.
Here's what I think.
I mean, it. Yeah. I mean, right? I mean, cut it out. I mean, shit.
I'm happy for the kids. I'll put it that way. Kids got to win, and they covered the spread. Yeah. I'm happy for the kids. They don't deserve all the behind the scenes drama that's going on right now. They agreed to put on the uniform, and I don't blame them. Although at times I think the staff doesn't mind doing that, but I'm not going to blame the kids for some of the behind the scenes stuff going on right now. The struggles, the fan base's apathy. I'm happy for the kids. They got to win. I'm not going to talk. Coppin State. That was rough. It looked like they never played together in their lives. To be honest, it looked like a bunch of dudes got out there and played a pickup game, and they were just learning how to play. I saw more missed dunks and layups from that team than I think I've ever seen. I mean, it made Lorenzo Wade look like he could dunk the ball well. That's how bad it was. OG Louisville fans know exactly what I'm talking about there.
Lorenzo Wade.
Happy for the kids. I'll put it that way. That's the positive. Like, there's, I don't know, Ash, if you want to break down like the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to say the good. I'm going to say
I'll let Patrick give his thoughts, and then I'll kind of I've got the box score pulled up, and I'll run through it.
I've got a couple things. Number one, I guess KP and the Coppin State coach thought we were still having the pod at 9 tonight because no timeouts. They tried to get that thing over quick, man.
That thing was gone in hour 49.
Yeah, that was a quick game. Two, obviously happy for the win. Like Kyle said, you want the kids to win. You want Kenny to win. You want the coaches to win, and that's a win. It's a win that any other team other than the last two in the past century of U of L sports probably gets a 40, 50 point win, but you still take a 20-point win. And then my third and final point: if you're the NBA, I would highlight this game right here as why you should watch the NBA instead of college basketball.
Oh,
because man, that was a hard game to watch.
It was hard.
So those are my thoughts.
Guys, I'll just run through real quick here. From three, 28%. We actually shot really well from the free throw line again. So that's one thing about this team. They have consistently shot pretty well from the free throw line. We shot 78% tonight from the free throw line. We out-rebounded them 45-33, which everybody kind of knew going in because Coppin State has been one of the worst rebounding teams in the country. So
I'm actually a little disappointed it was that little of a margin.
I am
that
too.
That sounds weird, but that's been Coppin State's biggest thing. We should have probably doubled up on the rebounds. As crazy as that sounds, we probably should have when you look at who they played and how dominant in the paint those other teams were. We stood out there and shot a lot of threes. Why?
Yeah.
Why? That wasn't the scouting report says like that team cannot stop you if you go inside.
6 of 21 from 3.
We're out there shooting 21 threes and making 6 of them.
Our first 12 of our first 19 shots were 3-point shots.
Yeah, why? That defies
me,
the scouting report.
To me, it just looked like a bunch of guys just trying to get theirs. I mean, they were trying to run offense.
No, Ross, I'm going to stop you right there because like that was the thing after the Simmons game.
Yeah.
And I don't normally do this, but after the Simmons game, I was really praising their ball movement and how the chemistry looked.
Mm-hmm.
And even after the Kentucky Wesleyan game, I thought they played hard and they played together. But I didn't see that tonight. I think you were totally right, and I think that there were guys looking to get theirs tonight.
I felt like when they were running through the offense, it was just kind of lackluster, lackadaisical. You know, it's like, okay, it's not there. So here, next guy gets their chance. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, no, it's not. Now it's my turn. Like they weren't doing anything purposeful with the ball, with offense, really. I mean, and then the clock would get down to end. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna try to attack it. Oh, look, there's a guy that's wide open out here. He's been open here the whole damn time. You know, I mean, it's just,
yeah,
I don't know. It just was not. Not a lot to take away from that, man.
We hit a lot of shots at the very end of shot clock where we threw up a garbage shot and made it.
Yeah,
that's like I can think of 3 right off the bat. Yeah. So do you want to do the good, the bad, the ugly, Hash?
Well, the good was the free throw shooting. The bad was the number of threes that we took, and to me, what's ugly is turnovers. Like we had 15 turnovers in that game to only 7 assists.
Yeah, that's
where the quality of competition that we were playing tonight. That's pretty pathetic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A common theme this year in 3 games.
So for me, the good, like I alluded to it earlier, but the kids got to win. They covered the spread. I mean, they did cover. They got to win. It is always better to get a win, even if it's not a pretty win or it doesn't tell you a whole lot about the team. It is always better for those kids to get a win with everything going on in that program right now, because they still wear the name on the front of the jersey. They're still Louisville basketball players, and so we are rooting. We are rooting for them to have more positive times than negatives. Unfortunately, I think we know where this is probably going as the schedule gets harder. So take the wins you can get. That's the good. I would say the bad. I would say the bad would be I didn't really like there wasn't enough unity on offense as far as spreading the ball around. And Ross already alluded to that. I would say that was the bad, is they weren't sharing the ball well. It was just a bunch of dudes kind of dribbling around, jacking up shots, especially too many threes. And the ugly for me would be exactly that. We did not, which kind of complements it. We did not go inside enough against a team. Like we beat that team by 40 to 50 points. I'm not kidding.
Those were the games we did win
inside. They had nobody there. They had nobody to stop you, and you still. I just don't. And that's where the coaching comes in. It's like I mean, I literally have never coached in my life. I don't claim I know a whole lot about coaching. I had known nothing, but I can tell you what I do know. I can look at the scouting report. I can look at what Coppin State has not done well, and I can see the roster construction. We got a bunch of big guys without knowing how to do anything else. I know, hey, Brandon Huntley Happy, I'm going to you. JJ, I'm going to you inside. Manny, when you get in the game, I'm going to you. Dennis Evans, I'm going to you. And then, if you want to kick it out, if they start double teaming, if you want to kick it out then to the perimeter, fine. But my guess is you probably rarely even have to do that because they had nobody down low that was intimidating, that could rebound well. They had very poor fundamentals when it came to boxing out. That team did. And yet here we are, still out there, just dribble. Okay, 2 seconds on the shot clock, throw up a 3. Let's just or the opposite. You just run down there and rush a 3, and it's like, what are you doing right now? So, I remember Curtis Williams. There was one play in particular. We run down there on a fast break. He just stops right at 3-point line, throws up a brick. And I'm thinking, guys, if you know nothing else as far as the staff goes, get these guys a play inside, and we win by 40 or 50 points.
Yeah,
that was the ugly to me.
Yeah.
Ty's comment here: does this make the top 5 wins of the Kenny Payne era?
What is this?
No.
Number 6?
Which one do you knock out?
This one.
Yeah.
Probably this one.
This one. It's not even close. I mean,
I don't. These past couple years, I watched less college basketball.
I'm the
than
same
I
way.
probably have in my lifetime. But I have watched a few games so far this year. That have included the top tier teams. Like last night, you had Kansas and our rival Kentucky, and you look at how Kansas plays. There's a ton of off-ball movements, off-ball screens, backdoor cuts, a lot of stuff. And then you compare it to how we play, where when I watch our offense, if you are not screening or dribbling the ball, you are literally standing still.
Yeah.
There is no off-ball stuff. Now, you watch Kentucky, and they play more like us, but they've got quick, athletic guards that get into the lane that then cause all this havoc to get open shots, open cutters. They're big men dunking balls. I mean, so yeah, could we play our style if we had people getting to the lane constantly? Sure, but we don't have that, and it's just the screener and the dribbler, the ball handler, and that's it. And I can't believe in a year and 3 games now that we have not tried to install some other kind of offense.
I mean, what
or defense?
I mean, what do you install? I mean, I just don't even know where you start. You had a new team last year. Now you have this team the way you want it this year. And I mean, it's clear they didn't really change a lot, to the system, what they're doing. So, I mean, like, you got a completely new team again. I guess you were trying to recruit to what you wanted to do. But again, I've said this before, it looks like Kenny wants to run at something that is similar to what he's seen at, from Cal, Calipari and Kentucky. They want to space the floor. They want to, basically, like you're saying, Pat, you want to get in the lane and you want to kick to open guys to get shots. But the two problems we have, one, we've got a lead facilitating point guard, if you want to call him that. I don't even know how you can even call him that. That's what he's supposed to be. He's not the most fleet of foot. He plays below the rim. I haven't seen him be really great at finishing at the rim at this point. And, he's not the athlete that you need to run this kind of offense. And then on top of it, we said it all summer. No shooters, really. I mean, we see Curtis Williams can shoot, but I mean, we really don't have any other shooters outside, like none. No. I mean, there's nobody to kick to for an open shot. I wouldn't collapse if I was an opposing team. I wouldn't collapse. I would collapse. I wouldn't spread out to cover the shooters either. I mean, what are we shooting on the season from 3? Probably 28, 29%. I mean, it's putrid.
Makes perfect sense. The team sucks in the paint, and they can't rebound. They can't defend the paint. So what do? You go out there as a bad 3-point shooting team. You jack up 21 threes and hit 6 of them.
Yeah. Steve Cards asked how the attendance was tonight. From the pictures that I saw, 14. I mean, it was abysmal. I mean, it looked like 000. I mean, there were fewer 14. People actually in that arena than there used to be for the red-white game. So,
yeah.
I mean, Vince McMahon, how was the attendance tonight? Not it.
Cut it out.
Yeah, that was definitely not a packed gym. You could have sat anywhere you wanted tonight.
Yeah, one of the might have more people in the comments tonight than we're in the so
that's very possible. One positive, I guess, tonight. Trey White had a decent performance as he went for 12 rebounds and 10 points tonight. So I do have to compliment him on that. That's the one bright spot probably as far as player performances that I did want to highlight.
He looked real good in the first half.
Yeah.
He did not shoot the ball well in the second half, but
he shot those 2 threes at the beginning of the game. And
again, I think he, I just don't even know what to say. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like,
it's tough. It really
I don't
is.
I don't understand how a team that is this long, and we're not the most athletic team, but we're way more athletic than these teams. We got much better athletes than any of these teams we played, and we are just getting absolutely out-jumped. Like, guys are. The other teams are timing their rebounds better. They position themselves for rebounding better. Like, there's just like there's a lot of stuff lacking in the rebounding department. And I feel like if the team could rebound just half again as better as what they've been doing, they would get a lot more possessions, and they would cut down on possessions from the other team too. Like, it's so frustrating. I can't stand. I'm not a tall guy. But one thing that I could always do when I played basketball is I would rebound the hell out of the ball. And it's because I would go get it. It's the only thing I could really do. I put back my ass into somebody, move them, and jump as high as I could, which is not real high. But, I mean, we were going to battle for it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand how somebody's 6'8" and you get out jumped by some dude that's 6 foot. And you've got longer arms. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. I do not get it.
Yeah, and we had 3 players with an assist today. 3.
Oh.
And to answer your question, Couch House, it is 10 days until we beat Kentucky in football.
Oh, man, we're about to get into single digits. Well, hey, speaking of beating UK in football, and football in particular, before we get to UK, we've got a hell of a game coming up.
I do have to address one more thing. All afternoon, I know you're answering. Kyle on the pod is a football first guy. I know Ross is as well. I've kind of been always 50-50. Like, I'm a huge football guy, but I'm also diehard basketball. And I just have to say all afternoon and right before the game, we kept hearing Kenny's going to address Koron after the game. What in the? So, it was such a non-answer.
We danced around the Koron stuff when it came out. I mean. And I didn't even now somebody on the pod did use his name. I try not to even name the player, but obviously now with them having to talk about Koron at all, we all know Koron was a player involved in whatever happened. Now, some people claim nothing at all happened. Other people claim what they claim. We don't know. We don't know exactly what happened, but I do find it very odd that as soon as that happened, he has not touched the floor. And what do we hear all off season? We heard that Koron was one of the bright spots, that we were all going to be surprised by Koron's on the court performances when he gets into the game, that Koron's better than people think. Koron's in there the first couple of games. This thing comes out, all of a sudden Koron's just nowhere to be seen. So,
and not even at the game.
So here's my thing. I understand what the university is doing. I understand why it's just better to come out and say nothing happened. Everything was fine.
But why say
clearly something happened? And I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and speculate how far it got, but something happened, and it certainly was not just like, oh, he showed up 5 minutes late to a practice.
No,
something happened.
It was his decision not to have him there, but he's not in any trouble. Well, when do you not have one of your players at a home game if there's not had anything happen? Come on, just
come on, guys. He's sick, man. He was just didn't want the flu past.
He had a hangnail.
Come on, man.
I mean, it's
really obvious that something definitely happened, and it doesn't really matter one way or the other, but it is. I think it's kind of noteworthy when we were getting all the summer player profile write-ups. Koron was like the only player that didn't get something talked about him about high character warrior along that lines in his write-up. It was it. He was the only one.
Yeah.
So
it's it. The whole thing's obviously awkward, and I think it puts a damper a bit on the chemistry of the team. It's just lingering in the background. We're just going to pretend nothing's going on, which that may be the best way to deal with it. I'm just saying it's pretty obvious that not everything is lining up as far as nothing.
San and Hersey. I mean, hell, Aiden McCool got in. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something's up. But anyway,
Let's move on.
Let's move on to football.
I don't even want to watch the press conference tonight.
Come on, man. The big game. Let's go. This is it, boys. I'm going to deem it right now. I'm calling it right now. This is the Jack Plummer game. Now, is it the Jack Plummer game because Jack Plummer is going to be really good? Or is it the Jack Plummer game?
You remember this game's on the road, right?
That's what I'm saying. Is it the Jack Plummer game because he's going to be really
good?
For
one good road game.
Is it the Jack Plummer game because he's going to be the road Jack Plummer that we become accustomed to? That is the question, because this game comes down to Jack Plummer. It does. Miami's run defense is actually a little bit better than our rush defense, believe it or not. They're fast. They're good. They're good at the things that we're good at normally, that we rely on. They're good at stopping those things. It's going to come down to Jack Plummer. It is. It's a Jack Plummer game. I've deemed it that. I don't know what to expect. I mean, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous because we have to get more out of him than we've gotten. I don't think he could game manage us to a win here. I think he's actually going to have to play good. And I understand that Miami has their own quarterback issues, but I'm also not going to be surprised if they put Jakari in there and they give a TVD a very short leash, because I really do think that Miami, literally the only reason they are as bad as they've been is because of their coach doing the most ignorant thing you can do against Georgia Tech and just giving that game away instead of taking a knee. It was the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
And B, their quarterback. Their quarterback has held them back with all of his turnovers. So you take the quarterback out of the equation as far as the amount of turnovers he has, you got a whole different team. It's like a whole different team. It's like he's holding the team back. And he's either going to figure it out Saturday or he's going to have a very short leash. I don't expect him to be in there very long if he plays like he has been playing these past few weeks. So then it comes down to, well, what are we going to do? Because you know they're going to stack the box. You know they're going to get in there and try to stop the run, and they're good at it. They're really good at it. I'm not saying Jawar, if he's healthy even, cannot rip off some big runs, or that Garindo doesn't get in there and make some plays. I don't expect it to be easy. I expect it to be kind of like how North Carolina State was able to control the run. And unfortunately, anytime we've really had to rely on Plummer, I've always said we need to take the pressure off of him. And I still feel like that would be great if we could. But what I'm saying about this game, and this is why I'm really nervous, guys, is I don't think we're going to get that opportunity in this game. I think they are going to make Jack Plummer win this game. It makes me really nervous. So this is the Jack Plummer game. And I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Jack's going to be key. You're going to, is Jaws fully healthy yet? Maybe, maybe not. So do we get the Jaws from the beginning of the year? And listen, even a 50% Jaws is still pretty good. But it's nice that Isaac's been a big time 2A type running back. But as you said, their run defense is stout. So we're going to have to pass the ball. Along with Plummer, it's the game that we need receivers to catch the ball.
Yes, we've had some key drops.
We can't have these bad drops. And I think, it's going to be the game of Louisville's defense has been good all year. Can it continue to be good against a very athletic Miami team? I mean, Miami, other than Notre Dame, which doesn't play a very fast style of, get out there on the edges type of football. They're more smash mouth. This is going to be the most talented, probably, offense in terms of player talent that we've probably faced this year. And in terms of speed and trying to get to the outside and spread the field. So, it's going to be a test for our defense too. It's going to be a tough game. And it's one I think we really need, because I don't want to back into the ACC championship. I want to tell people, hey, we beat Miami. We're in it. We don't have to worry about anybody else.
We earned our way in.
So
is this a game where Braum throws a chair in the pregame?
No,
I know the
that's
UK
Kentucky.
game's coming up, but I think it needs to be this one. We're gonna be fired up for the UK game. This is the game you gotta get these guys locked in on the road. For everything's on the line right here.
I don't have any doubt. You know, if this was Satterfield here, we're for sure losing this game, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to go to Miami. It's their senior day. We talked about this before the season started. We were talking about when we did our predictions pod. We were talking about how this was their senior day, and that always seems we've not had. I feel like we've gone down there before and played them on senior day, and we got absolutely trounced. You know, like other people have said, this is like, it's a talented Miami team. They're always going to have talent. For whatever reason, if the season doesn't go the way they want it early, you know, it kind of just unravels a little bit. But then they kind of have that one bounce back game near the end of the year, and you just don't ever know if you are going to be that team or not. If there was ever a time that it could happen, it's on senior day, right? So going to have to be ready. I think the coaching staff knows that, though. I think they're going to have our team ready to match the intensity of this Miami team. They know they're going to come out fired up. My hope is that after playing Florida State, they played pretty dang well, right? We haven't really been able to see this Miami team really put two games together in a row all season. So I'm hoping that we kind of get that. It's kind of – it doesn't sound like the crowd's going to be – there's going to be a lot of people there, you know, so I don't expect like crowd noise to be all that big of an issue. So I think if we just come out and match their intensity from the get, and again, if we can score first, if we score early on our first couple of drives, that is a big thing for this team and for Jack Plummer. You know, it's huge. It is absolutely huge.
I am a bit nervous about the field conditions. I know it's supposed to rain a whole lot the couple days before, like the 2 days before the game.
Well,
and it's
all right.
natural grass.
Let me get the weather report out.
It's natural grass. We've struggled with that. Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh was a monsoon during the game, so that was worse. And Pittsburgh also has the overall worst field. So I don't think it'll be quite that. Just a lot of things make me nervous. But listen, this is the game you have to play. Like, you have to play this game. You can't just go waltzing into an ACC championship without playing good teams in hostile environments. And we've got a hell of a break with our schedule this year, with the amount of home games we got, some of the tougher teams on our schedule we got at home. This is the one. Like, you got to win this one. You even get UK at home. So it's like, you got to win this one. You got to find a way. It's not easy. And I expect Miami, like Ross said, to have a bounce back game. I expect them to give TVD a very short leash, since they had benched him anyway, and he's only back in there because Emory Williams fractured his arm. So it's like, okay, he's back in there. But how Jakari's got some playing time, some experience, and I'm actually surprised he's not starting. And maybe he does. I'm still not totally convinced. I know he came out and said it would be TVD, but I don't know. We'll see. I just know I don't care what the situation is. It's a hard game. You got to come in there locked in, focused, and you got to find a way. This is the kind of game that you have to win to be considered a really good football team. And it starts, unfortunately only because of past experience with Jack Plummer on the road, but it starts and ends with Jack Plummer in this game. It really does.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be honest too. Like, I actually want Miami to come out and play a good game, and I want us to go and beat them with them playing a good game, because I honestly do believe we're the better, more complete team. I think we are. I believe that based on what we've seen through 10 games this year. We're going to have, like, there have been a couple of times this year, in particular, I know some people don't agree with me. I don't think our game plan for the Pittsburgh game was great, considering the way that was, and I didn't think that our game plan going into Virginia was all that great, to be honest. Again, both of those game plans, really, we didn't convert early, and then it forced us to have to put a lot more pressure on Jack. So I know that like Miami's they're like 7th in the country and like sacks. they're like 7th in the country in sacks. I think
I want them to stink.
They're ranked pretty high. I think they're like 6th or 7th in like tackles for loss. And they like to get after the quarterback. Like our O-line's not terrible, but I could see this being a game where Eric Miller, the right tackle, has some trouble. What I honestly expect, and I've honestly expected this a lot this year, and we haven't seen a whole bunch of it. This is a game when a team is got their front seven's very stout and they're coming after you. You use your speed and in the screen game to get behind them.
Too. Same thing.
And this is the exact time where we need to be using Miami's strengths against them. I think if you call the plays it's going to be about some timing. It's going to have the coach, the Brahms are going to have a good feel for the game and how it's going. I think if we can get in the red zone, we're going to score a lot. The red zone defense isn't that great. It just the trouble is going to be moving the ball in between the 20s. So I want to see us use the screen game a lot Saturday. I think that could really, really pay off. And a lot of quick hitters. I mean, we've seen teams do this against us, right? When we've had some of our best, most aggressive defenses, what do teams do? They just dink and duck you to death. They just keep you on the field, and they just keep the high percentage passes going, the 10 and in. And obviously you need to be able to take shots downfield, but eventually those shots will be there every now and then. You just got to capitalize on them. So I don't know, man. I'm very nervous, but I'm confident that this coaching staff is going to have the right game plan. And more importantly, they're going to have the team ready mentally and physically to match the intensity it's going to take to go out there and win.
I also want to see a lot of misdirection with those screens. I want to see a lot of guys in motion, a lot of, fake handoff one way, go the other way. I just want to see them where they're freezing just for a second to look at where the ball's going, because they're fast and they are going to bring the pressure. They're going to bring the heat. And then maybe at that time, that's when you can start, getting Jawar and Garindo. And I'd like to see a little bit more Maurice Turner, but, it just depends on how the game's going.
This is a good game for Turner. I think
how healthy Jawar Jordan is. I mean, I'm still nervous about that with the field conditions being kind of wet. It's just, I don't know how healthy he's going to be. Jamari Thrash, now I'm not as concerned about the field conditions for his wrist, but I'm hoping he's healthy because, right or wrong, I mean, and I love everything Jamari Thrash has brought to this football team. He is an absolute stud of a receiver. I wish Jack was better at seeing the slot receivers. Jeff Brom talked about we need to put him in a position to get it to the slot receivers more, like Amari Huggins, Bruce. Like, I feel like, and I mean, I know this probably isn't right, but my perception is like 75% of the throws go to Jamari Thrash. And I saw one where they threw it in the triple coverage last week, and he actually threw the ball very well, because if he throws it poorly, it's intercepted. He didn't end up catching the ball, though, because he had 3 guys on him. He had 2 other guys wide open. And I guess that's where my frustration is, and where the Jack Plummer game comes into effect here. He has got to start seeing these open guys. He's got to start seeing them. I feel like he locks in on one guy, usually Jamari Thrash, but if it's not him, it's one other guy. If that guy's not open, he takes a sack, he granny shots it out of bounds, or he just throws up a complete whopper of a throw like he did with the pick 6 last week. And it's like, my God, man, you got to get to your second option at worst. You really should be able to get through your first 3 reads, but it's hard when they're bringing a lot of pressure and fast like Miami. But you can't just lock in on one guy and then crap your pants after that. Like, you got to be able to go through.
You're going to have to give him time too. So Trent's comment there in the comments there, he says, Miller struggles in pass pro, and that's it. That's one of my big red flag areas. That's why I brought it up a second ago. Like, he's going to have trouble against Miami's guys, the way they're able to come off the edge and bend and get around. So what you can do is, we need to, like you said, Kyle, you need to put guys in motion. You need to have guys come in motion. You need to have guys chip blocking, guys off that edge to give Miller a little bit of help to slow other guys down, and that'll give Plummer a little bit more time I think if we put a tight end over there pretty often over there on the strong side, and get, I just don't really know who it would be. It could be a good game for like Kariski probably, but you're going to have those guys chipping those guys, their defensive ends a lot. Like you need to slow them down and give Miller some help. Because if you do that, you're going to give Plummer more time to see the field. And that's going to be very, very key to find those wide receivers. So we will see. I mean, I like I said, I got a lot of confidence in the staff. They know a lot more football than any of us, so.
I totally agree. And then Trent L makes a comment about having the extra couple days off to prepare for the game. And I totally agree with that. I think that having those extra days is going to help us tremendously. Jeff has always shown an ability to get his teams up for a really big game.
Yep.
And the stakes don't get much higher than what they are this weekend.
Because if you win this, you're in the ACC championship. It's done.
Right. And I'm sure that every team's goal sets their goals prior to the season, and I'm sure that winning a conference championship is always one of those dreams and goals for before the season. And it's so close. They're so close to being able to play for the conference championship.
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to use that all this whole time to get the team up and ready and prepared for this game. And I am worried about the athletes that Miami has on the field and some of the defensive guys that they have. I don't worry about their quarterback play, obviously. But I also do worry about our kicking game because Brock has not looked great in the last few weeks. I do think that this game could come down to being like a 3-point game. So we cannot have any missed opportunities in the red zone as far as whether it's a field goal or
get points.
Kicking in wet grass, that's a scary thought, man.
Well, I think a couple things, the key for us all year has been staying ahead, whether that's staying ahead of the numbers and getting, short and manageable third downs, whether it's getting ahead in a game so that we can control the game how we want to play it. And that's going to be extremely important against Miami because you want to get ahead of the numbers. You do not want – we are at our worst when Jack has to be in third and long situations where the pressure's coming. We've converted some, but I feel like that's when we've made our turnovers and we've put ourselves in bad positions. We've not played great from behind. I know we came back against Virginia last week, but Pittsburgh was a tough game. We just couldn't figure out how to score from behind. So I think getting ahead early in the game and staying ahead of the numbers on offense is going to be key, especially against an athletic team that likes to bring some pressure in Miami is going to be big. Also, I kind of want to the weather. I'm religious on looking at the weather, and I'm like Kyle. I don't trust things 10 days out, but we're not 10 days out.
No. Got to be 3 days out.
It rained all day today. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but there's only a 10% chance of rain Friday and like a 7% chance of rain Saturday. So
that's changed on Friday. That's good.
Unless the field management there doesn't do its job, then I expect the field should be decently well kept, which I think helps us too, and especially with Jaws and his injuries. So hopefully that's a good thing for us.
So one thing too, I am happy it's a noon game. I saw some Louisville fans griping about that, but I think you need to really think about where they're at in the situation. Now, I've been to South Beach a couple of times. A South Beach hangover hits a whole lot different than a regular hangover. A South Beach hangover, let me tell you, South Beach hangover now, it hits hard. They're not getting up at noon. No, not in South Beach. No. They'll be lucky to go to bed by 4 a.m. They'll be down there with some ladies on the beach, down on the strip. And I'm telling you, there's something about that environment The drinks hit different down there. We want a noon game. We do not want a night game down there because that's when the drinks are hitting at their best. You don't want a night game with that crowd. So let me tell you, thank you guys, whoever made the decision to make this a noon game. I was actually very surprised. I thought for sure Louisville, Miami would be a 3:30 or even a 7:30 game. I really thought it would be a 7:30 game. But hey, we thank you for that because a lot of people just be getting up at noon.
It's a safer game at noon too. Just remember that.
Yeah. Oh, come on. I mean, there's no doubt about. There is something to that. Like the city of Miami is a nightlife city, right? So I mean, the people in that town are more geared.
I don't remember down there.
Yeah, but I just want to give a big shout out to Kyle there because we need to put that on a T-shirt. He's like, what'd you just say? You said, oh man, I totally lost it now. You sounded like an old grandpa. You're like, let me tell you about South Beach Hangover now. Let me tell you.
Hey, I am an old man. I am an old man at heart. I'm 35 going on 65, and I love every second of it.
Let me tell you about Bobby Caldwell.
They do. They hit different down there. If you haven't been to South Beach and you haven't partied down there, I'm telling you, a noon kickoff is exactly what we need.
Yeah. I went to the last Miami game down there with a bunch of buddies, and we had a flight the day after the game, and I felt so bad that I was scared to get on the airplane because I was like, I feel so bad I might have a panic attack on this airplane because my stomach and head hurt so much, and they're gonna have to emergency land at some point. Luckily, you just got to drink more. Type of pill and passed out for them.
That's what I'm saying, man. What time was your flight? Noon?
No, that's the worst part. The flight was at like 4 or something. Man.
I still wasn't ready.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. now
you just got to start pounding more beers after that point, man. Just pound more beers.
Probably a little bit more conditioned to handle it, but I'm telling you, they're a night city. They don't. The idea of going, and I mean, their stadium's not right by their campus. It's like a 45-minute drive or an hour drive. The idea of getting up and going out there if they're not right by the stadium, when you're a city that thrives on nightlife and it's coming off of a Friday night, yeah, I'd expect that crowd to be a little bit lackadaisical, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
May not affect the play on the field, but it certainly doesn't hurt. I mean, it beats having a night game against those guys. I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think if the game was at night, they would have more fans there and they would be more lively, like for sure. Cause it's something to go out and do that night. Like they don't really give two about going to Coral Gables to go to the Hard Rock. You know, they don't care. They don't really care like that. So.
Yeah. My first year that I worked at Cincinnati, and we're going to dive into story time with Ash here. We played at Miami in football, and so the university decided they were going to send 5 busloads of students down to the game. So we left campus in Cincinnati on like a Wednesday and drove in buses straight through, like no hotel, no stopping, straight through from Cincinnati to Miami. Like the buses had to pull over and change drivers at one point in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But we got there. I mean, it was a good deal for the students because they got to spend like 3 days down there, but it was hotter than blazes. And one of the kids on the bus, I got voluntold to be on this trip because they had to have staff members be chaperones. And so I got voluntold by my boss that I was going to be a chaperone on this trip. And so I had to ride the bus all the way down there. And one of the kids on my bus got a tattoo on his ass the night before the game. And it was 1,000 degrees out. And so we're all sweating our
1,000 degrees on his ass, I bet.
And
yeah, man.
So you could imagine, like, it hurt, so he couldn't sit very well. But after the game, we literally boarded buses after the game and drove straight back to Cincinnati. Yeah. So, like, I mean, everybody was disgustingly sweaty when we got out of the game, and he couldn't hardly sit comfortable because he had a tattoo on his ass of the sea paw.
That place makes you do some stupid stuff. Trust me.
Man.
But that was one of the most interesting
as long
trips.
as the team comes in there focused, dialed in, and they can do whatever they want down there. Now, I do expect us to have a large contingent for a road team at Miami, and that sounds crazy being as far as we have a very large contingent of South Beach fans now. And a lot of them are talking about attending this game, so I expect us to have a couple thousand there. As crazy as that sounds.
Is Justin from the Discord going?
I mean, Justin. No, it's no secret that Louisville fans love to go to Florida anytime we get a chance. Like love that,
and I mean, a lot of them live down there. It's crazy how many cars have transplanted down to South Beach area, and I expect a couple thousand maybe.
Well, I know New York Card, if you remember him from the old scout site days. He lives in the Fort Myers area now, so I'm sure he'll be at the game.
So speaking of cards in South Beach, and obviously we're recruiting down there. We have the 305 to the Ville. That's a thing. Stan Kwan playing against them. We got a lot of guys, Qataris Hicks. A lot of these guys have Miami connections. We're recruiting down there right now, and I kind of want to talk about recruiting. So we've been getting a lot of good news lately. I know some other people have heard of this too, so a lot of this isn't news. When Pierce Clarkson starts tweeting out pictures of himself, DeAndre Moore, Ruben Owens, the big three, or whatever they call themselves. And then
trio.
The trio. That's correct, Ross. Thank you. I don't always have the thought right on. It's on the tip of my tongue. Yep, the trio. So he tweets that. Then you even get Brady Braum in on the action. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. And I just wanted to say we even heard as of today that Ruben Owens, we're making traction on Ruben Owens. So
yep.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure the staff's not doing it. They're not directly involved. That would be tampering. Nobody does that. So I'm sure that reps between the two groups have had a little get together, a little powwow, and it sounds like things are going well between those two groups. Indirect conversation, of course. And I'm telling you, I know some people on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it were like, oh, we don't need Ruben Owens now. Fuck out of here, man.
We'll take him now all day long.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy because Jaws is probably leaving. Yeah. I don't even think he has any eligibility left. Garindo, it seems to be up in the air if he has an extra year or if this is his last year. I've seen both. Multiple times.
He has another year.
He does have another year. We have to hope he uses it. There's no guarantee some of these other guys don't hit the portal. I gotta jump in.
I got to jump in. I wonder what Ty would think if we were to get those guys reunited on campus. Let's get his opinion right now.
5-star in my book.
Well, there we go. Now we know what Ty thinks.
Literally, in Ruben Owens' case, a 5-star. Like you don't listen. Did they not watch Ruben Owens' tape? I don't care if it was the highest level comedy. Did you not watch his high school film? Have you forgotten? Because Pepperidge Farms remembers. It was, I was mad I watched the film because I was like, oh, hell no. I should have never watched this because if we don't land this guy, I'm going to be heartbroken. I'm going to be absolutely heartbroken. And then he goes to Texas A&M, packs all the stuff, ships it to Louisville. All of a sudden, Sat takes that job. He was attached to Darrell Sims, the running back coach. Darrell Sims goes with Sat. He didn't want to play at Cincinnati, so he does the logical thing. He looks at the two big schools in a state and says, all right, I'll just go Texas A&M. But, you hear things, and we're hearing good things as of today. You take Ruben Owens. So people that are, like, bitter, like, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, people act like, well, you didn't want to come here.
No.
Like, literally had a staff turnover when he was already kind of, trying to buy all the way in. He was bought in. He was sending his stuff here. And then he finds out the guy that he's closest to is not going to be here.
Yeah.
And he can listen, I understand NIL at Louisville is a big thing. I can tell you right now, we don't compete with A&M in Texas if they really want a guy. So that's not the issue. Like, he wanted to come there because he had relationships established there, not only with Pierce and with all the Bosco guys that he got to know, but he had a very good relationship with the running back coach.
Yeah.
He did the right thing for himself. And if we can get him back now, hell yeah, you take that. Come on.
Yeah.
And let me make a point. this is if him and Moore come here now, that's better than us getting them last year, because now they've used their transfer to come here, and they'd have to sit out a year to go somewhere else. So it's the best case scenario, bro.
And on top of it, you didn't get to oversee their development, but you trust that a program like a Texas A&M, like they probably got a good strength and conditioning program. You know, it's probably on par with ours or better, or maybe just I don't know I don't know anything about it, but you literally on somebody else's dime, they got a year of strength and conditioning. They got their body's just physically more matured naturally just in 1 year alone, like all on somebody else's dime.
That's a good point, Ross.
Yeah, and like you said, Pat, like they use that one time, transfer, rule, the immediate eligibility to play the next year. So if they do want to leave again, they're going to have to lose a year of eligibility. Like, so it, and the other thing too is, and I'm taking this from Mark Blankenbaker, but he said this Monday morning on morning show with Drew Diener. He said that he had heard the last he had heard in October, Reuben Owens' stuff is still here. it's still on campus.
So is his tattoo.
Yeah, so like I don't even know what I think that's just kind of funny, honestly. But like I don't think he's coming to come get his stuff. You know what I mean? But
that's
like
what it is, Ross. He's like, well, I might as well just transfer there because I got stuff there. I need to go pick it
like
up. The last 3 years.
Part of me is almost like
Trent makes another good point that Owens would have been buried this year on the depth chart just because of how deep we
Trent
are.
also makes a very bad point, in my opinion. He says we could.
I saw that too. I was going to ignore it.
No. Trent would not ignore it if I did, so I'm not going to ignore it. Trent does it. He says he could take or leave DeAndre Moore because 5'11" receivers grow on trees. First off, a 5'11" receiver does not grow on the tree. They look up at it because they're so short. Second off, there's a lot of that's the way the NFL is now. You look at the best NFL receivers, it's not like it was 10, 15 years ago. And Trent, I know you know that. Most of them are short and speedy, fast. They have great route running ability. Those guys don't grow on trees. And those guys, there's a lot of short receivers, but I would argue that a lot of them do not have the potential that DeAndre Moore has. We need receivers. We need them because we got a lot of receivers leaving. I can tell you right now, from what I've been told,
you're probably going to lose one or two in the transfer portal too.
You are. And then I can tell you also what we've been told is that receiver is going to be a big focus again in a portal this coming up. So there's no reason why you couldn't take DeAndre Moore and hope he reaches his maximum potential, because I think he's got a low floor and a very high ceiling. I just don't see where that would. I guess you could argue take it or leave it, but I just think that you take it because I think that he could be a really good player here. And it may not be next year, but 2-3 years down the road, he could arguably be our best receiver. You never know.
Yeah. He has that ability. Like the thing I saw when we were recruiting him, the thing that excited me about him was the way that he got out of his routes and he got separation. Like he was very fast into his cuts, and he came out of those cuts extremely explosive. He made separation, and he uses his hands away from his body too. Like he doesn't try to trap the ball. He uses his hands. So, I think he's a guy that I don't really know how much he's gotten to play down there at Texas. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but he's a guy that has a lot of room to grow, and he showed a lot of promise in high school over there with Pierce on the same team. And that's just another thing. Like if Pierce is going to be our guy for the next couple of years, it couldn't hurt to have a dude that's running routes for him, that he's got already built-in chemistry with.
So cards I want to talk about. Deuce Vaughn or Brady Allen will be the starter because I don't see Pierce Clarkson starting, mostly because Brom didn't recruit him. I would say, first of all, I give Pierce a chance. Now, I don't know if he'll start as a redshirt freshman or not. I wouldn't count him out at all. But Second off, and I don't want to say too much. Now, I saw it has been shared. The name has been shared elsewhere on another platform that I won't even bring up. I don't want to ruin a quarterback recruitment. I will say we are recruiting the portal, or we will be, I should say. We will be recruiting the transfer portal for a quarterback, and we are not going to settle. I'll put it that way. We are not going to settle, which I think this year was a unique situation. We thought we were going to get Austin Reed. Everybody thought Austin Reed was telling people he was coming here. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because his coach stayed and then they offered more NIL, or if it was just, hey, they offered him an NIL deal he couldn't refuse. Something made him change his mind at the last second. So then we're kind of left scrambling and hunting. And we did get Jack Plummer. We're thankful for Jack Plummer, but he's, he does have limitations. I mean that with no disrespect. Mm-hmm. He's not a guy that can just blow the top off of an offense. He's not a typical Coach Braum quarterback, even though he's played for Coach Braum before. Like, he's not the air raid type of just airing it out. And thankfully this year the roster is constructed in a way where he doesn't have to be. But I'm telling you right now, in the portal, we are looking for a quarterback that can make a major impact. There's a name out there that we're going to be watching very closely and see what happens and hope for the best. And that's all we can really say. We've known about it for about a week, but we're just, not going to say much about it. And then I saw the name was dropped elsewhere, but I'm not going to do that because, they're not in the portal yet. Portal season isn't open yet. And a lot of things can change. But hey, we're big game hunting for a quarterback. I'll put it that way.
Well, and here's my deal about the transfer portal is for our sake, it's hard to really get too enamored with any names just yet, just because of the fact that we all know what's going to happen next month. In the month of December, you're going to start seeing coaches on the move, and that really shakes everything up. So, I mean, because like a year ago today, I mean, you wouldn't have thought Jack Plummer would have been on our radar. I mean, so whenever these coaches move to another school, they're going to start recruiting that portal hard, and everything's going to be in flux. When the silly season kind of gets going, so it's hard to really zero in on too many players right now as far as transfer candidates.
Yeah,
I mean, for example, Willie Fritz, in my opinion, is going to be at a Power 5 school in a month, maybe 6 weeks. I'm positive of that. He passed up a number of opportunities to better himself in 2019, which he really then regretted because his team actually went kind of in the tank, the opposite direction that he thought. He thought that if he stayed, he would improve and get better offers the next couple of years, but then he almost got fired. So coming off of the years that he's having now, I don't think he'll pass up opportunities that he's going to get after this year. And I think like a guy like him will be on the move.
Coaches too.
And other coaches too. And I'm just giving one example.
Yeah, just throwing a name out there randomly.
But, I mean, you'll see like Jamie Chadwell you saw the other day was in Starkville.
Yeah. That's what I was going to bring him up. I mean, there are a lot of coaches like that at that mid-major level that are probably looking to move up right now. And right now, their quarterbacks aren't even on the radar to be transferring. You know what I'm saying? But some of those quarterbacks are really good, and they're going to have to look long and hard on what they're going to do. Are they going to stay and wait for the next coach, or are they going to take their opportunity like their coach did and go somewhere? And maybe those coaches recruit their quarterbacks to that next team. I mean, it's clearly a possibility, but I mean, it's if a coach is going somewhere and they've got a stable of quarterbacks there already, I mean, yeah, that quarterback that's playing for him there at the mid-major school currently would have a leg up, knowing the offense and everything, but doesn't mean they're going to win that spot. I mean, coaches are not going to give players spots like at a high level.
People in the comments are saying if certain coaches go to Power 5, their quarterback's going with them. Not necessarily.
We don't know that.
And that's all I'm going to say.
It depends on, and also depends on where they go.
I have reason to think that's not always the case.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I'm just saying that like transfer portal goes crazy whenever the coaching season goes crazy.
And here's the thing about quarterbacks too,
because we didn't know Plummer was going to come here.
Here's the thing about quarterbacks. Well, like I said, that was one where it was like we thought we had our guy, and that kind of is a point I'm about to make. Here's the thing about quarterbacks. It's the highest, most coveted position. So the transfer portal is free agency for these guys. What they're doing right now is they're through back channels. They're gauging interest. Like, hey, I'm interested. What do you guys have to offer? What does your quarterback room look like next year? Are you looking for a guy? How do you think I fit into that? What do you think you could do for me? And you may leave that thinking like, hey, we've got a real good chance at this guy. But what you may not, what you have to prepare for is that they've also had that conversation with 5, 6 other schools, maybe even more. So you don't really know. And then of course they're going back to their own school once the portal opens. They're going, well, I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna head out. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, you haven't even heard my pitch. Why you shouldn't leave. And I mean, that sounds kind of like what could have happened with Austin Reed at Western, for lack of better terms. So it's tough. That's the toughest position. And when you think you've got it nailed down, I do think we've got a guy that we're interested in. And I do think that we've got resources available that I am confident in as far as, being able to sell Louisville. But he's not in the portal yet. We're not going to talk about names. And we're just going to see how it goes.
Yeah,
go ahead, Pat.
I think to your point, Kyle, big fish hunting, big fish fishing, whatever you want to call it. This year, I think Jeff, and I know we went after the WKU quarterback Austin Reed last year, and then we got Plummer, but I think that Jeff played it somewhat safe last year with his quarterback options. Not that Austin wouldn't have been an awesome ad, but he wouldn't have been what I would call, these big, huge fish in the pond. No Sam Hartman for sure. And I think awesome. Jeff's mindset going into the portal last year was, I need a quarterback who knows my offense, that I can put together a season that I can build on. And I think we've had a better season than Jeff thought we were going to have.
So
I think so too.
Okay. So I want to tell the Sam Hartman story finally for the viewers. It's a funny story. It's a story of, metaphorically speaking, I lit a match on fire and lit a little leaf, and that leaf lit the grass on fire, which went to the trees and lit a tree on fire, which lit the rest of the forest and created an entire forest fire. So, I actually really like the idea of Sam Hartman being a Jeff Brom quarterback. And so while he was still at Wake Forest, he had not transferred. I had made a comment in a group chat we have that, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if Sam Hartman played under Jeff Brom, which I know how he played this year, didn't play as well as we thought. This is before that. This is when I thought he was going to be like Wake Forest, Sam Hartman. Besides our game, he played really well there. So I had told people I'd love to see Sam Hartman play. So then all of a sudden I get on one of the message boards on the premium board, and it's like, who's our portal quarterback going to be? And all I did was write Sam Hartman. I just answered. I didn't say, I knew he was going to be. I didn't say I was hearing. And then what I did is I screenshot it and I shared it in that group chat, like joking around, like, ha, look at this. Well, one of the guys in there who is an insider on that message board, who drops a bunch of scoop and who's usually really serious and doesn't goof around, he literally quotes my post and says, been hearing rumblings of this myself. Well, then all of a sudden Nick Sorrell gets on there, and I'll drop Nick's name because he did all over Twitter. He didn't hide it. He gets on and he's like, dude, I've been hearing about Sam Hartman too. Now all of a sudden the next day comes, I'm driving home from work listening to the Mike Rutherford show. Shout out to Mike Rutherford. I love your show. Doubt you even hear us on here. But in the event that you happen to catch a stray, just know I love your show, man. Well, I'm taking a swig of my Diet Mountain Dew on the way home, and all of a sudden Mike Rutherford's like, been hearing rumblings about Sam Hartman possibly entering the portal and being interested in Louisville. And I mean, I projectile spit my Mountain Dew all over the windshield. I had to pull over. I was dying laughing. And I send that group text. I'm like, oh my God, the Sam Hartman thing's out of control. I get on Twitter and you've got people arguing with each other. Well, should we really take Sam Hartman? He was terrible against us. Other people are like, are you kidding me? We absolutely take Sam Hartman. And then we had some people that beat it into the ground where it was like they didn't let it go. And they were like, everything was like Sam Hartman, Sam Hartman, Sam Hartman. But I just want to apologize for anybody that caught wind of that rumor. I started something I did not mean to start. It's my fault. And I will never do something like that again. I never meant for it to get to where it got. I never thought it would.
I mean, we can't let you take all the credit, Kyle. I mean,
I'm not taking credit. I'm taking
it was the whole Discord. The whole Discord ran with it, man.
No, it started with me though. Like I put it in there.
It was pretty funny.
It was funny.
That was some of my most fun times in the Discord.
I'll take the full blame, is what I'm saying, because I put that first thing out there, and then I would say that they didn't really care that I did it until the insider got on there, and the guy that has like, he was like, yeah, I've heard that, but he wouldn't have done it if I didn't share it and then drop it in our group chat, and it's my fault, man. So if you thought we were getting Sam Hartman, and then all of a sudden we just didn't, it's my fault.
but I think this year we'll be swimming in Sam Hartman waters, man. I think that's the quality we'll be looking at.
Yeah, I do too. Pat. I think we're going to have numerous guys that are going to want to be here. Like, we're going to have to pick the right one. That's the position I think we're in.
Definitely.
So, and Ash, I don't know if you've got the tweet. If you could go to Steve Clarkson, what he tweeted out a few days ago about, or maybe it was Soskin. It was Clarkson or Zach Soskin talking about basically like,
I'll be back.
Louisville fans, the time is now to join the 502 circle. Like there's things happening here. And then I think Clarkson piggybacked off of that, saying, all the stuff we were telling kids about coming here to Louisville, and this is the new destination. Like, this is your time to show it, So, it is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I had been wanting to join the 502 circle for a while. I had been meaning to. I had been slacking on it. I did join. Like, I joined that day. Like, within 20 minutes of reading both of those tweets, I was like, all right, I'm in. Like, it was no question. Like, I'm in. Yeah, it's not that much money from me, but like, if you have 1,000 people do that, and they're doing it, they're signing up for a commitment every month. That's a lot of money. I mean, it goes up pretty quick, and it helps. It helps bigger boosters with their pockets, open up their pockets a little more, because they know that they've got a push from underneath them too. It's just kind of like a pyramid thing. So, you need that money to kind of flow up to the top, and we've got a real opportunity to get some big signings in the transfer portal this year. And you can say what it is. You can hate that it's not the way it used to be or whatever, but this is college football today. It is free agency. You got that one-time transfer. I mean, this is college football free agency now. Like, this is free. The NIL in the transfer world, the way it gives a big leg up to a lot of programs like Louisville to even the playing field against the traditional blue bloods of college football. Like, we can actually compete. Like, we can really compete. You can go and buy your players now. You can do it legally, breaking zero rules. Nobody's going to say anything. So, I mean, we need to basically nut up or shut up. Like, this is our chance. Like, Clarkson's not wrong.
Ty, what is going on, man? Are you down bad tonight? He's really getting in depth about how attracted he is to Sam Hartman.
I mean, it sounds
five star in my book.
It sounds like Ty wants to eat his.
That's great, Ty, what is happening?
You gotta get yourself under control, man. Get it together.
Blue water with a nice breeze and stuff. Whoa!
Ty,
I thought you were working tonight. It sounds like you're taking quite the break.
Yeah, Ty wants his Cane's chicken boiled in some Sam Hartman ocean water, man. I mean,
that's a combo he would be down for
Spit sure. In my mouth.
Oh man, that's not the kind of cane sauce we were thinking of.
I don't know if you guys. I don't know how many. Steve UL Cards made the comment about. He's hearing the quarterback Ivan Renko is transferring here. So, like, I don't know how many people are going to get that, Steve, but especially the younger crowd on that.
Ivan Renko Jr., man.
Look it up.
Bobby Knight.
What was the recruiter's name? Clark
Francis. Yeah, Clark
Francis.
Yeah.
Ivan Renko Jr.
too. Clark Francis was from Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
That was even worse than Sam Hartman trolling.
It was basically a fictitious recruit that everybody started going crazy about.
Yeah, it was completely made up. Long story short, Bobby Knight made it up because he was so sick of recruiting services not being able to evaluate players. He questioned their credentials. So he said, Ivan Rinko is a guy we're recruiting. He like described him. I think he was like a center. I don't remember that though.
Yeah.
He described his game and everything. He's a fake guy. And all of a sudden, Clark Francis has Ivan Rinko like way up on his list. And then we find out later it was a hoax. And you got to think this is in early internet days. So it's much easier to pull a fast one. Like social media, you can just Google Ivan Rinko. Okay, he doesn't exist. There was no Google back then. Clark Francis was running his recruiting website off of an actual web address. And you hear this and you're like, holy shit, like this guy must be really good. Bobby Knight's raving about him. Puts him on his list. Fake player, didn't exist. He was about as relevant as Manti Te'o's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Completely non-existent.
It was, and just one story out of 500,092 of Bobby Knight being an asshole. But I mean, he was. I don't care. I mean that man was a very miserable person. I'm sorry. So I mean, I'm happy for what he did for the game, but I'm not gonna shoot any strays that way. But he was not a happy person, and that was pretty crappy what he did to Clark there and to other people, but it was also kind of humorous at the same time because he got his point across of what he was trying to do.
Yeah. Macro, Cole, did you already talk about this when I left for a little bit? Cole McAnally flipping to Miami because Macro brought that up. So we did lose a guy today, a defensive end recruit, Cole McConaughey. Sorry, I said McConaughey. These last names, I'm terrible.
I was like unsure who you were talking about. Actually,
he flipped his recruitment. Shout out to Dave Lackford over at Rivals. He had said on there, "Hey, watch out. He's going. We think he's going to decommit." I didn't know he's going to flip to Miami. I think it's a little salty that he's doing it right before we play them. I don't know. There's something. Maybe it's just coincidental, but I don't think it is. So he is really good, Macro. You're right. He actually, thing about Cole is he gets off the snap really fast. He's got a really fast first step whenever the ball is snapped. And that's the Ashton Gelati type of thing. And I was kind of looking forward to him, coming back. But, I think we're going to be okay. I will say this. Just hang in there. All the recruiting's been pretty boring in high school. We are going to crush the transfer portal. If you think we crushed it last year, just wait.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, without knowing exactly who we are, I've got a few ideas of some names, but without knowing specifics, I just know this much. 502 Circle, it's gearing up, it's revving up, it's putting a lot towards this transfer portal. The coaching staff's going to go out there like gangbusters. There's already feelers that are being put out, people feeling out this staff. Our staff's probably got indirect feelers out. And every staff's doing it. So I'm not saying anything, every staff's doing this. So just hang in there because come December, it's going to pick up and I cannot wait. I'm pumped about the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing.
Just wait a minute.
You're going to be able to
pause. Budnick, come on.
Hey, it's good. Hey, Budnick, it's good for the kids. They needed that win. We beat the spread. It's always good when the kids are going through a lot. There's a lot going on in the program right now, guys. I mean, it's frustrating to say the least. And I think that it's poured over to the fan base, obviously. And it's just one of those things where for these young kids who are just going out there playing a game they love, representing our university, we just need to be supportive. But
I mean, Budnick,
it's not a great win. Let's just say it's good for the kids. Let's just leave it there.
Budnick, this Coppin State team would lose to a few D2 schools, like no question about it. Like they would. So I mean, they're not good. Like, so, I mean, we've been very positive and optimistic that this could be me and Ash in particular. Like, I mean, I think everybody wants this to work out. There's no secret about that, but this is not a step in the right direction. Like, I don't know what you could be watching tonight and say, like, man, this was a good win. Like, no, that was bad basketball being played. That was bad on both sides of the court, both teams. It was not good. It was very bad.
I appreciate your comment, though, bud.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be times where we just, no disrespect. I don't know. It was a good win for the kids.
I want to get back. I want to get back to the
kids.
Is it McConaughey?
I want to get back to the McConaughey thing. So, like, we talked about it. We talked about it on the pod last week, or maybe it was in the Discord. I thought we hit on it last week, but I think it's probably really good news that you're gonna get Ashton back, and we've been hearing from some people that we're gonna get Ashton back. Also, since the spring game, I've been really high on one dude. Adonijah Green is going to be an absolute breakout player next year. I will promise you that. That kid is going to be extremely good. He's flashed a couple times this year in the short amount of snaps he's gotten.
We got to keep him, though, because trust me, they're coming for him.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure some people are. I'm sure some people are. Like, he is a dude that plays. He uses his leverage well. He's got a great first step, and he is quick. He's got really nice bend. He's able to get back there. I mean, he can make a big difference as a freshman already. From what I've seen, you put some weight on him and some strength, that kid's gonna be a monster. You put him on. Plus, you're gonna get Mason Rager back, who I've been high on for 2 years now, because I was saying, every time you look at that kid when he's in the game, he's just around the football. He has a nose for the football. Things happen around him, and we're seeing it this year. Like, him and Ashton are going to be an absolute problem next year. Him and Mason are. They're going to be a huge
Capers either, man.
Yeah, and then you got Capers. Like losing a player like McConaughey. Yeah, he's good, but he's not gonna make or break our recruiting class. No, like, he wasn't going to start next year. He'd be lucky if everything goes right for this roster the way it is right now. He would be lucky to get snaps next year alone. So, like, we're going to be just fine. Like, I'm not even worried about a loss of a recruit at this point, because, again, even when you lose a big recruit, you would love to bring them up through the program, and you would love to, bring them up and groom them and get them in your culture and get them ready. Like, you can always get somebody in the portal as a quick fix, just like that. If it's a position of need that you really need, boom, you can get them. Yeah. Like, it's not a thing anymore. It doesn't matter that much.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I don't know, guys. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I've got all these emotions running through me. I'm like my wife on her first date. She was just so blessed to hang out with me. I'm kidding. I was the blessed one. I was the blessed one. But I am nervous. I am like a little schoolgirl going into this game. There's so much on the line. Looking forward to it. We will do a post game on Saturday. I'm sure. I don't know what time, because I don't think a 3:30 or 4 o'clock post game is going to hit real hard on a Saturday, but I don't know if we'll do it later at night or what. And we could, I mean, if the Miami game doesn't go as planned, we could be sitting there watching other teams in the post game, rooting for them. We hope it doesn't come to that, though. We control our own destiny. So let's just get through it. Budnick, I see your comments about future coaches. We will.
We're not there yet.
When we get there, we will be. I'm telling you, we got some good ideas.
We got some banter this afternoon about ideas there, and so
we got some ideas. Ready. I mean, it's going to be fun on Third Banner Pod if there's a coaching search.
Yeah, come back, man. Like, trust me, you will want to be here, because we would be lying if we say we're not talking about it already behind
everybody
doors.
Is. But
everybody, right? Everybody is like
Nolan Smith,
but.
Josh Jameson, Danny Manning, they're our assistants, and of course the support staff. They're our coaches right now, so we just got to hang in there, guys.
Yeah. So, before we get off here, do we want to do a predictions?
We got to do predictions. It's a must. It's a requirement.
What do you got, Matt? What do you guys? Don't make me do it.
All right. Oh, man. Are we going to get a first loss from Kyle? We'll save Kyle's loss prediction for last, so that somebody can yell at him afterwards.
I'm not going to predict a loss. I'm just not going
to.
Everybody's putting a prediction in. Everybody's putting a score in. We're not doing this. Not doing this.
Well, Hammond and Holland, just give some
on record.
fun.
I won't predict my team's going to lose.
Well, you better say we're going to win.
All right. I think listen, it's going to be, we haven't played well in Miami. We've played well against Miami at home, haven't played well in Miami.
Yeah.
Their style and their strengths do worry me a bit, as we talked about, but I believe in Brom and the extra days we had to prepare for this. I think he knows what's on the line. I think he thinks this is more important than the UK game, which in all honesty, it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be not a terribly high scoring game, and it's going to come down to the end, hopefully not a field goal. I'm going 27-21.
What do you got, Ross?
I think it'll be a little bit higher scoring. I do. I just think we're due for a really good road game. I am with Pat. It seems like there have been teams in the past that have given us trouble on the road, particularly in Florida, right? You're not wrong about going down to Miami and having trouble at Miami. You remember when we were in the Conference USA Big East times, we went down to South Florida and lost frequently, even when we were the better team. They had some really damn good teams during that stretch, but there were teams that we had that were a lot better and we still lost, So I think the Brom effect is what I've been saying this whole pod. I have so much confidence that they're going to have the guys amped up and ready to go. Like you said, Ash, like Brom is very good about getting his guys up for games, right? Like that's one of his greatest strengths. So they know they're going to be up against it. They know they're going to have to come out and play with intensity from the very first snap. You're going to have to go out there. So I expect them to come out and look good from the start. If that happens, we have always seen nothing but pretty much things go our way. We have one game that says that doesn't happen, and that's Pittsburgh. It's because we just kept throwing the damn ball for some reason instead of running it. So I don't know why we didn't run the ball more with Garindo that game. I was screaming for it. Now we know we have like Garindo, you can lean on him. Like he can be a guy. So I just trust that we're going to use Miami's speed. We're going to use some of their strengths about getting pressure in the backfield against them. I trust them to have a good game plan. And I just think we're due. We are just due for, and that's hopeful optimism, but like we're due for Plummer and this team to have a good road game. Like the NC State game wasn't pretty, but the way they eked out a win on the road in that environment was pretty good, but they didn't play great. Like I expect us to come out and play great this game. Like this game means a whole hell of a lot for the University of Louisville football program. Like you have the chance to seal the very first time you could ever go in and make an ACC championship. We've been in this league now for 9, almost 10 years. Like we've been dreaming about this. This is exactly what we've been wanting. So it's right there. The Broms know how big this is for Louisville football. They know it. They're going to have the guys ready. So I know I rambled a lot, but I think the score is going to be 38-28. That's what I think.
All right. Well, Ty, what do you think the game's going to be like? Do you think we're going to be ready to go?
Five star in my book.
Gave his opinion on the game. Ty's still talking about Sam Hartman's physique. He's probably not even on the pod anymore.
Oh, great. I think that we're going to win 27-24. I'll keep it pretty brief. And Kyle, I'll let you finish this up. What do you got for the final?
Come on, Kyle. Score.
I'll say this.
Score.
Here's what we need to do to win the game. I'll put it that way. No, I'm not Ross. I'm not going to say we're going to lose, but I'm not going to sit here and say like I think this is exactly what's going to happen. This is what we need to do to win. We have to actually use the pass to open up the run because they're going to be focused on the run. We got to do some of the things you talked about, the screens, the misdirections. Jack Plummer has to have the best game as a Louisville Cardinal that he's had. Maybe minus the Boston College game. He played really well in that, but the level of competition on defense, especially what he's facing, is going to be much higher. So he's going to have a very composed game. Our defense is going to have to disguise their blitzes and bring pressure. I do think if there's only one criticism I've had of the defense, and by the way, Ron English is to me arguably the defensive coordinator of the year. So I don't say this critically. If there's one thing I think we've done is when we get either an inexperienced or a struggling quarterback, sometimes we lay off a little bit on the pressure thinking, well, we can get away with rushing 3 or 4 guys. Well, 4 guys in our case. And sometimes we don't get that pressure and it takes us a long time to bring the pressure. Like Pittsburgh's a really good example of that. I think the IU quarterback, Jackson, in the second half, I think we should have blitzed a lot more. We didn't. And last week, even at times, I think we went away from it as well. And that guy kind of killed us sometimes. That all being said, we have to bring pressure and disguise our blitzes, keep these quarterbacks. I don't think TVD is going to be in there very long unless he's playing very well. So if he is able to turn his good fortunes back into what it was the first couple of weeks, we got to really bring the heat and make it hard on him. But if he starts to struggle, they're going to bring in their backup Jakari, and we're going to have to bring it on defense, bring pressure. Jack Plummer's going to play a really good game, and then that can open up the running game. So that's what we need to do to win.
Cards 27-21.
5-star in my book.
Good prediction, Kyle. Woo!
Kyle, what do you think's
27-21.
If you had a gun to your head, what do you think's going to happen?
Who? Me?
What do you think is going to happen?
I'm not ever going to say on this pod, I think we're going to lose a football game. I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
So you already said it then.
Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent.
I told you what we need to do to win the game.
I mean, Kyle has done a score prediction on every game.
No, there was one other one he wouldn't give it.
Yeah.
Was it the Pittsburgh?
I can't remember which one it was.
That's his pick. If he doesn't,
it was the Pittsburgh game, Ashton. What happened? I would not predict we would lose.
All right. Well,
but I will say this: I also thought we were gonna crush Virginia. I had no worries about that.
You're right.
Listen,
and
so
here's the
more incentive. You wouldn't give a score prediction for Pitt, and we lost. So give your score prediction.
Yeah, you might have jinxed us.
Then
you jinxed it, Kyle.
No, I ain't jinxing anybody.
Yeah, come on.
They don't watch me. They don't
reverse juju. You believe in it. You believe in it.
White dad, deputy Indiana. They don't know I exist.
All right, guys. Well, does anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap it up? It's been a good show. I've had a lot of fun tonight.
Yes.
Like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button on this video, guys. That really helps us out. If you stumbled upon the video, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button so you'll catch us again in the future. Like us across our social channels on X, Third Banner Pod, or search for us on Facebook at the Third Banner Pod as well. We'd love to interact with you guys on those platforms as well. Any final words, Ross or Kyle or Pat?
Hang in there in basketball and let's go in football.
Good. What about you, Pat?
One thing I did want to say too that gives me some confidence heading into the game is coaching matters, and we by far have the better coach.
Yeah, for sure. No, 100%. That's part of what I've been getting at.
That was good, actually.
Yeah, like we don't have a coach that's going to do some dumb shit. We don't. But I will. Before we get off here, I would just say,
if we have a time management mishap at the end, I'm coming after you guys.
I am no longer the Black Angel of Death. So that we're clear there. We're good. We're good. So I'll just say we got some big opportunities coming up with the Third Banner Pod. So Appreciate everybody that's been here, been supporting the channel thus far. We love doing this, and look forward to seeing y'all more. And tell your friends and hit the like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and you keep coming back, man, because we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going, and we love having y'all. Like you said, when it's interactive in the chat, man, it makes it that much more fun. So thank you guys as always, man. We're all Cards fans in the end, and we just want the best for our program.
Ash, how many can we get Ty to tell us how many stars this podcast is rated?
5 star, 5 star, 5 star
Hey.
in my book.
Thank you.
All right, guys, go Cards.
Go Cards, go
Go Cards.
Kroger, baby.